Hello, everyone. Let's see. We are here, and I am going to just We are share this. Here, and I am going to just. All right, we've got some viewers here, and I'm going to give it a couple of minutes. I want to tag you, Tracy, so that way your people can see it.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Good evening, everyone. It's so good to see you. I hope you've been enjoying all of my posts today. But I am so excited to present to you the Coach's Kitchen. So I want to officially welcome you to the Coach's Kitchen, where breakthrough is always on the burner. I'm your host, Leslie Nicole, life strategist, empowerment coach, and your favorite soul chef. This is where ambitious women like you come to unpack what's simmering beneath the surface, from purpose to power moves, healing to high stakes. Because this isn't fast food healing, y'all. It's the slow, sacred work that sticks. So pull up a seat, bring your whole self. I said your whole self, and let's stir up something real. Come hungry, leave whole. Now, tonight's episode is called The Rise From Ashes to Altitude. My guest journey is a powerful one, and I'm talking from bullets and betrayal to climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. How in the world did she do that? And building a business rooted in purpose. This is a story about resilience, fire, and transformation. So, may I introduce to you, insert applause, Tracy D. Bond Lance. Hey, girl, where you at? Where you at? There she is.
All right. Can you
Hi,
see me?
Tracy. I can see you. How are you, love?
I see you too, beautiful.
I love that you are in your kitchen as well. And I don't know, we didn't coordinate the black, but I'm here for it.
On purpose. The coach's
On purpose.
kitchen must be in the kitchen.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Well, I would love to introduce you to our guests and our audience. So Tracy is a Chicago native. She's embraced numerous roles, including wife, mother, daughter, sister, aunt, grandmother, friend, entrepreneur, and award-winning author. However, her core identity beyond these roles is a child of the Most High God who believes a force inside her is greater than any obstacle in life. She is an advocate for perseverance, and her tenacity shines as she leverages her experiences and entrepreneurial platform to uplift others, demonstrating that success is possible no matter where you come from or what you've gone through. Tracy resides in the south suburbs of Chicago along with her husband Lance and their 16-year-old daughter Michaela. They cherish their family of four children and five incredible, beautiful grandchildren. Girl, you are a force to be reckoned with. And your story is just the beginning. And I will tell you that even when we first met, um, yeah, I just could not believe what I knew about you, but I didn't really know about you until I read your book. So maybe you can just share, first of all, how did we meet? Do you recall?
I do recall. We were just talking about this. You were on Facebook, or you did you had a podcast before, and you were talking about Oprah Winfrey, my
Of course.
icon. And I just loved your energy. And I don't even remember what you were talking about, but whatever it was, it just drove me to you. And I just fell in love. And I was having a girls' night
Mm-hmm.
coming up. And I'm like, you have to come and speak at my girls' night. You have to come to my house. I know you thought I was a crazy person
Yeah.
inviting you to my house, but you came, which was so mind blowing to me. I'm like, this woman came, you came through for me. And ever since, we've just been staying
Yeah,
connected.
absolutely.
Yes,
And disclaimer, I'm not just coming to anybody's house. We did meet in person first in a very public place so that way we could meet folks. Y'all, I'm not crazy. I'm not just coming to your house. I just want to make sure that disclaimer because my mama gonna call me afterwards and be like, girl, don't be going to no, just nobody's house. We ain't doing that.
yes. If I
Anyway,
were
let's
your mom, I would call you too. Yes. We met at Vollmer Trail, and we walked around the trail together.
yes,
It
you
was
and
at a
I.
time when yeah, like let's meet, but let's go for a walk. I don't want to eat. I don't want to go to a restaurant. I want to have an activity with you.
Yeah,
Yes,
you and my current trainer are on these walking meetings, but whatever. I'm here for it. It's all right. Why don't we just dive right in? Are you ready?
I am ready. I am ready.
Wonderful. Well, I will tell you, your story feels like a movie, to be honest with you. So it's called Shots Fired. Can y'all see that? Shots Fired. You may want to show them your copy because, I got this background thing going on. But it's
I
called,
still I'm holding this book. I can't believe it.
well, it's the thing is, it's real life. It seems like you're reading a fictional story that someone literally made up. Um, but I'm going to read that the opening chapter, first of all, was like, OMG, are you serious? But I'm just going to read a couple of lines and I have a question for you. So, the longer I kept it hidden, the more I suffered. Tragically, in my young mind, I internalized the belief that without question, I deserved every ounce of pain and suffering that came my way. Eventually, I willingly embraced the fact that I must accept the full weight of whatever happened to me. It was an inescapable karmic consequence of starting that fire. Besides, it was a mantra my mother repeatedly tirelessly said, we all have to suffer the consequences of our actions. Those words only reinforced my self-imposed guilt. And then you also say karma charged at me with the strength of a category 5 hurricane. So,
That's right.
Tracy, girl, what happened? You were very young. How old were you? How did this event shape the trajectory of your young adulthood?
That is the event that kicked off everything. So I was about 4 years old, and I set the house on fire. I was so fascinated with my mom and dad smoked cigarettes, and
Mm-hmm.
I was so fascinated with the way they flicked the lighter, the colorful lighter that looks like a toy to a four
Mm-hmm.
year old,
Go 4 year old.
and how they used to make circles with the smoke and make the smoke go in the air. And I was just fascinated. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted so badly to see if I could make that fire come out of that lighter like they did.
Yeah.
And when I did, my mom, I think, left. She went to the bathroom to
Mm-hmm.
get into the shower after an argument with my dad. And I took that as an opportunity to to try my hand at flicking this bright, shiny green lighter. And it worked. But the problem was I kept flicking it and it kept building up that gas in the lighter.
Mhm.
So when it finally ignited, it it kind of like blew up. Not blew up big, but blew up in a way that it burned my finger and I dropped the lighter in my baby sister's box of diapers. And the fire got bigger
Mm.
than what I could handle. I got so scared and I ran out of the house. But it was that incident that set off my belief that karma is going to come back on you, and everything that happens to you from this point on, you deserve it because you started the fire. And that was in my
Mhm.
4 year old's mind. And I believed it. And everything after that was, like my mom said,
Mhm.
you have to suffer the consequences of your actions. And I just thought
You
this,
internalize that.
yes,
And to clarify, the whole house was burned to the ground?
that's the first bedroom. So I
Just the
believe
first
it was
bedroom.
my baby's nursery or her. I remember our baby crib being in there and the box of diapers that ignited.
Okay.
So it was just the first bedroom of the house that burned.
Mm.
But when you have smoke and everything, that
Mhm.
comes along in the aftermath, it just damaged and destroyed the whole place where we were displaced
You were just
for a while. And after we were displaced, my mom and dad separated.
Mhm.
Then they divorced after that. And I thought I broke up our family. My mom and dad divorced because of me, because if it weren't for me starting this fire, they would still be together.
Mm.
So it just set off a sequence of events that I was, and for a 4 year old, it's so sad to me that my mind went to this place
Mhm.
that put me in a situation where forever it seemed like
Mhm.
I was blaming myself for everything that happened to the family. I broke up my family because we had
Mhm.
to move next door with my mom's then best friend. And she took us in, but my dad wasn't there. He went off someplace else. And it was just my sisters and me and mom, and we ended up living with her best friends with her three other children in
Yeah.
a small apartment, and we just had to make that work because back then we didn't have like fire insurance and
Right.
those kinds of things, or if
Right.
we did, it took time for them to rebuild the
Right.
house for us to be able to, for it to be habitable again.
Yeah.
So I blamed myself for all of that and just feel so bad for the anguish in the I was unkind to myself because of thinking you
Mhm.
deserve everything that happens to you after this,
Mhm.
after what you've done. You deserve it.
Yeah.
So deal with it. And this is what your life is going to be like. And it seemed like that was what my life was like after that. This is
Yeah.
not a made up story. Everything in this book.
It's all real. It's all real. So speaking of the book, Tracy, speaking of the book, I'm gonna fast forward to when you woke up in the trauma center at Michael Reese Hospital. You say I was delirious, struggling to clear up the confusion in my head. My body felt so heavy, I couldn't move. I could feel cords attached to me. I could also feel my head wrapped in gauze, but I couldn't open my eyes. I wondered if I had died. I'm fast forwarding here. How could I still smell him? Was he there? The heart rate monitor beeped urgently, each sound heightening my anxiety as flashbacks, came to mind. I was so scared. I tried to open my eyes. I couldn't speak. Everything was blacked out. I thought I must be dead. And you talk about death quite a bit in your story. So take us back to that moment. And I want to highlight a couple more moments as well as it relates to the trauma that you've experienced. But what do you remember about fighting for your life?
So it was like a black hole. Like after this event, so
Mm-hmm.
this was, fast forward, I was 14,
Mm-hmm.
and we were outside playing hide and go seek, and this one guy just kept chasing me, and I'm looking like, why are you chasing me? And I don't want to use real names. I didn't use real names in the book.
But that's
So
good. That's
hopefully
good.
I can refrain from mentioning the real name. So forgive me.
That's
So
all right. Take your
I'm
time.
asking him, like, what? Why do you keep chasing me? So he finally caught me, and he wanted a kiss. He wanted to kiss me, and he was, he was, his breath was on me. His face was so close. I could feel his breath. I
Mm,
could feel his sweat
yeah.
because we're running around, and I'm feeling him on me. So he pushed me up against the wall, a brick building. It was a school, McCorkle School on State Street. We lived in the projects then, and he just he was blocking me from getting from out of his clutch.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally got away, and he's chasing me, and he's just on my back, just about. And I'm running for my life, literally fighting for my life, screaming. And then people around, they just wrote
Just
it off,
listen.
kids out there playing. So I'm crossing State Street to go back to our building that we
Mhm.
lived in. And there is a broken bottle, which is not unusual for the projects living in the city. Broken bottle on the sidewalk, and I picked up the bottle, and I turned, and I threw it at him. And then the broken glass from that, he picked up one of the pieces, and as soon as I turned around to see how close what was he to me, he
Mhm.
threw the glass and just hit the bullseye. So after that, it perfect,
When you say the
perfect.
bullseye, what do you mean by the bullseye?
The bullseye, like right in this left eye.
And that's
So the scene you just quoted from the book
yeah.
was after that. So I was with my sister. No, I ran to the building, and I'm just holding my eye, not knowing what's going on, not knowing how bad it was. And
Mhm.
then I ran into my sister. She's like, "What's going on? What's happening?" And she's like, "Let me see." And I move my hand. She snatches my hand from and just blood is everywhere. And it was just a scene from a horror movie. And of course, I don't know. I checked out, blacked out from that point.
Yeah.
And the next thing I remember is
Mhm.
waking up in the hospital, cords on me, and I could see, because he eventually got to the point where he was kind of licking my face, neck, or
Mhm.
something. And when I woke up at the hospital, I could still smell that.
Yeah.
I could still smell him on me. Me thinking he was around me. He was somewhere near
Mhm.
where I was. But again, thinking I must be dead, because why am I taped
Yeah.
up? What? Why can't I? Why don't I see? Why don't I know what's going on?
Right.
Because it was so traumatic. The damage was so traumatic. They just had my whole face wrapped up,
Mhm.
because they didn't want, me to move this eye, because somehow it affects this eye.
Yeah.
So after the whole hospital thing, is when I found out how badly the damage was. So I lost complete vision in the left eye. I had to have a
Mhm.
cornea transplant, because the nerves were so badly damaged that they only did the cornea transplant because it was for cosmetic reasons, because the
Yeah.
cornea was so damaged. It wasn't going to I wasn't going to regain the vision in the eye, but
Mhm.
the cornea was just for cosmetics, so that
Mhm.
I would look somewhat normal, just with a new cornea
Mhm.
in there.
Yeah. But less than a year later, Tracy. So let me ask you this. Let me go back. I believe in the book you had mentioned that you were legally blind in your left eye. Is that correct? Or your right eye? Left eye.
um Yes. If I were to close, to just have only this eye open, I could
Mhm.
sometimes I could see shadows
Yeah.
or light. if someone turns on the light, I could see that. Or if someone moves, I could see a shadow.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just totally blacked out.
Yeah. So this was a life, literally a life changing alteration
Yes,
in your body makeup.
yes.
Okay. Now, less than a year later, you mentioned um, I stood frozen in the intensity of the moment, trying to process what was happening. Then I screamed like a crazy person. Oh my God. Oh my God. I've been shot. I'm gonna die. And here it is again. How did you even begin to process trauma, piling on trauma? And this is not even everything, because I've read so many other things in your book, but how did you process this? And then how did you start
Sometimes,
recognizing? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Answer that first.
like, sometimes I wonder, like, is this my life? Even
Yeah.
when I was writing the book and reading my own story, it was just
Yeah.
so surreal.
Yeah.
To think about the things that I had gone through as a young girl, thinking
Hmm.
about if my girls or my sons for that matter had to go through what I've gone through, how would they how would anybody be able to deal with it?
Right.
So when I had to title this book Shots Fired, literally and metaphorically, shots were fired at me throughout my childhood and into adulthood. And this scene that you just read was a scene where my mom was dating this guy,
Hmm.
and he was a security guard. So he carried a gun around with him.
Hmm.
And they got into a fight. And as any child would do, you side with your mom, and
Protecting her.
he's, calling her a bitch, and he's carrying on because he's drunk and under the influence of whatever. And my sisters and I were in the living room. We used to have a dance. We thought we were a dance group. So, just to lift some of that the stress of the trauma off of
Mhm.
me right quick. I'm a lighten the moment. So my sisters and I thought we were the Pointer Sisters. So we used to have a singing group. We were the Pointer Sisters. We would dance and sing around in the living room, and we thought we were going to be the girl Jackson
Jackson
5 group.
5.
Oh yeah. So we were just dancing, and literally when mom and Clarence in the
Hmm.
book uh, got into the fight, it was literally like a needle on a record
Mm.
when he when they kind of came out of the bedroom where you can hear the chatter, you can hear the conflict going on. But
Right.
then when they brought it out into the dining room, so there's the living room and the dining room. We're in the living room. Their
Mhm.
bedroom was off the dining room. So when they came into the dining room, was when he was just going crazy. And I can't remember. He got upset because my sister's boyfriend was at the house.
Mhm.
So and he wanted him to leave. So they got into it, and all of a sudden, when he called her the bitch word, we, we are all like, "You don't call her. You got to get out. Just get out." So when we physically pushed him out of the door,
Yeah.
he had a security guard bag, and it's a duffel bag, and we kind of threw the bag out in the hall where he was, so he won't have a reason to have to come back. After, so we lived in Inglewood at this point,
Mhm.
and I don't know if like, in the ghetto, when you live in sometimes you have, rickety doors or whatever. And I had to stand to push the door in order to lock it.
Yeah.
So as I'm standing there at the door, all you hear is a gunshot. And we're like, that fool is out there shooting the gun. I didn't even know I was shot. Initially, didn't even feel it.
Mhm.
But the bullet came through our front door, and it went through my leg and then out the window. And again, I didn't even realize I had been hit until it was a delayed reaction because all of a sudden, I don't know if it was adrenaline or whatever that stopped the pain or that delayed the pain, but a little while later, I saw bullet holes in my pants. I had on jeans, my Sergio Valente jeans, and I sat down and saw the bullet holes in the jeans. And the reason why I vividly remember them being Sergio Valente is because when the paramedics came, and being a poor kid and having a pair of Sergio Valente jeans back then, for you, they had to cut my jeans
Yeah,
off of
you
me.
was hurt. You were hurt.
I think that hurt me more than even getting the shot.
Ah, like give my jeans. Patch me up. Don't cut my jeans.
Don't cut my. You could. I could. Could we have taken the pants off?
Mm-hmm.
But that's how that's how when trauma hits you, you kind of remember every single detail about the event, like smells and certain songs and things that happen around you that you don't pay any attention to until you're faced with trauma. And then every single detail about that moment, for some reason, I remember every detail. So they, and that's when I found out that I was shot. And then after that, life went into a downward spiral for me. So a year before getting my eye put out, I think, when I had the eye incident, I had to wear a patch over my eye for at least 7, 8 months. And I think very shortly after the patch was removed, and I was so happy that the doctors were saying you can remove the patch because I was bullied and I was talked about and I was made fun of and called one-eyed and all of the things that kids do. And some adults, the stares, the looking at me like I was a freak and all of those things. And could you imagine having to be a kid, for the 8 months of your life, having to wear a patch over your eye. And then the doctor telling you that you could remove the patch. Every time I think I had to go to the eye doctor every 2 weeks or every month or very often, to the point where every time we went, when can I take the patch off? And they're like, we don't want anything to hit this eye or to harm it. We don't want you to get even a piece of dust in it. So I had to keep it on just for the healing process. But to be told that I could take it off finally, and then that triumphant moment just to get to a couple of months after that, and then I'm on crutches because of getting shot in the leg.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you a question. So there was a moment, you continue to write about anger and betrayal and violence. However, there was a moment when you really started to notice the difference between survival mode and self-destruction. So when or how did you stop participating in your own unhappiness? What shifted inside you to make you say, you know what? I know I started the fire. I know what my mother told me. However, there's got to be something better than this. I don't have to continue to live in trauma over and over and over and over again. What shifted up here or in your spirit? What happened?
You get you get to the point in life where you're just tired of being tired. And sometimes we can let trauma live in us so deeply that it becomes who we are. It became anger for me. It became resentment for me. It became bitterness for me. All of these things that started to shape who I was becoming. To the point where I didn't even like myself. And it's a hard, you create a hard life for yourself when you decide
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to die. Why? All of these things that's hitting me from left to right, and I keep getting up, and things just keep knocking me down. Now, that's the normal ebb and flow of life.
Yeah.
It's like the heartbeat, the pulse, up, down, up, down.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, can peace be still for me for a minute? When can I just have some peace in my life where I'm not always running away
Right.
from pain and hurt
Right.
and devastation and hard blows and the world trying to take me out? There's several transition pivotal moments in this book where I said, this is a turning point for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a couple of mentions in the book
Mm-hmm.
says this is a turning point for me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's on purpose because going through what I have gone through, I've gone through several turning points as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, you cannot have too many turning points because, each turning point was just a thing that just kept me um, growing
Right.
and learning and moving forward. And you know, everybody needs a higher power of some sort in order to have hope and to
Mm-hmm.
be able to look towards a better whatever, a better life, a better situation, better circumstances
Mm-hmm.
to for me to get out of this rut I was in. Now, I was never a religious person growing up. My
Mm-hmm.
parents never took us to church or anything like that, but I knew of God and I knew that somehow, some way, somebody had to come down and rescue me.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many transitions to me trying to piece myself back together and
Mm-hmm.
get back up and get out of this rut I was in. Because I already felt like I was ugly. I was ugly,
And you're
and
beautiful. Can I just pause
and
there and say that you're gorgeous? Beautiful.
exactly, for a long period of time, for years, I never took pictures. I didn't want to be in pictures. I didn't want to show my face. I just wanted to fade in the background. And that's because of the torture, my classmates and things happening that just made me feel worthless and unworthy of happiness, unworthy of living. But in all of the things that I have gone through, I have never once wanted to take my own life, ever. You would think that I would get to a certain point where, like, I'd rather take my own self out than somebody else take me out. You would think that that would be my mindset,
Mm-hmm.
but I started being destructive. So
Mm-hmm.
I was a drug dealer. So after the incident with mom and her boyfriend, I left the house because mom made me feel like I needed to forgive him.
Mm-hmm.
And forgiving him for her meant he would move back in with us.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, not wanting to see my mom sad and upset, I love my mom. And giving her what she wants. I forgave him, and as soon as he was released from jail, he came back. And that sent me into a downward spiral again, to the point where
Mm-hmm.
I left home. I think I was about 16 by then, or 17, and I lived in the dope house and I sold drugs just so I wouldn't have to go back home. And I've just lived a life of destruction. Like I didn't care. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't care about anything. I don't even think I cared about living because
Mm-hmm.
I was destined to believe that feeling unseen, like nobody cares about me. Why am I even here?
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I don't, the only time something really clicked that I was aware of
Mm-hmm.
my own awareness that I needed to change was when I started having kids. And I had Marcy, my first daughter. I got pregnant at 19 and I had her when I was 20. And I think that she was one of the turning points. Um, but even before then, when my niece Stephanie was born, she, the first baby to kneel, she was the first baby in our family. My older sister Adrian had my first niece. And when you see a baby come into the world, you are like, oh my goodness, this is my first niece. I have a purpose now. I'm an aunt.
Yeah.
And I didn't even mention it when I was shot. Tennille was standing in the baby crib by the window that the bullet went through, and she was just missed by the bullet. But when Adrian gave birth to Tennille, it was like my world started opening up. Yeah. And then when Stephanie Robin came, Tennille's little sister, and when I became an aunt, I think that's what was initially my turning point. Yeah. And then when I had my own daughter, because I was destructive when I was pregnant with her. This book will tell you the story about me.
Yeah.
Months pregnant and fighting.
You was a fighter, girl. You were a fighter, and I was like, this girl ain't scared of nobody. Nobody. At least that's how it read. I was like, she's just going, and I'm talking women and men did not care.
Did not care. I was this, and this was my husband cheated on me, and this was I describe it in the book as my lemonade moment. The lemonade reference to Beyonce, and I talked about how Beyonce had a lemonade moment in the book, and then how I had my glass breaking, shattering, crowbar busting out the window lemonade moment while I was 8 months pregnant. So even just to describe how even through pregnancy, the destruction just didn't stop. I was still destructive. And so, but when Marcy was born, I'm a mom now, I'm a young mom, and you need to get it together. And then, before I could even work on getting it together, 4 weeks after I gave birth to Marcy, I was pregnant again. Yeah, so,
oh my goodness, I was like, what are the odds though? Like, for real.
It wasn't how you think. It didn't happen how you thought it did. I got pregnant just like Mary got pregnant with Jesus.
Oh Lord, if y'all don't know, go read the Bible. Go read the Bible. Well, let me tell you, Tracy. So I cannot believe we're actually almost at time, but I want to change the trajectory of this conversation. So you've been through, let's just call it what it is, hell. Like, it was literally like hell on earth is how I read it. But you also made the shift. You decided to open your heart to love, to receive love. And it sounds like it was really, your niece, your own children. It's like children really are a blessing. You know what I mean? They really, girl, they will shift your whole mindset. But they just open you up to love. But another pivotal point in your life is when you climbed not the Grand Canyon, but Mount Kilimanjaro, like, which is so many more feet. I meant to look it up. Like, Grand Canyon's like a couple thousand. Mount Kilimanjaro is like almost what, 20? I was like, what in the world? So what did that climb symbolize for you in terms of resilience and rising to your next level?
It was a total transformation. So in the process of writing the book, I was just going through the last parts. I had the editor's edit, and I was just going through the last parts of the book, and I just kept hearing the Holy Spirit say, "You need to go climb a mountain." And because When
Mm.
you're writing a book, it took me a while to process some of the things that I was writing about in this book. And sometimes I had to shut everything down because I couldn't take the weight of all of the things that I had to write about, relive.
Mm-hmm.
And, there were triggers and there were things that came up for me. And in the process of writing, you remember things that you completely suppressed
Yeah.
for years. And then when you have to bring them up again, and not only to remember them, but to write about them in detail, it's a whole different writing process.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to relive those experiences, it kind of put in me that I don't want this to be my story.
Yeah.
I don't want these traumas to define me, to be who
Yes.
I become. I want
Definitely.
to live a trauma-free life
Yes.
because like I mentioned earlier, we carry traumas deep inside of us. And some of us suppress it, some of us want to forget about it, don't want to talk about it,
Mhm.
call them triggers, call them what you want when somebody touch on them. But I wanted that to be moved out of me
That's it.
because I was, I'll still carry anger into adulthood,
Mhm.
carry just how my life played out for me. And
Mhm.
I decided a couple of things. I went to college as an adult. I was a single mom with three little children and decided to go to college because that was my ticket.
Mhm.
I was raised in the south side of Chicago. We lived in Inglewood. We lived in Roseland. We lived on the south side. And you look around and you realize this is not what I want my life to be. And be
Mhm.
careful when we say, I'm not going to be like my mama and my daddy, because that's who I ended up being like.
Mhm.
And then when I realized I want something different for my life, I had to go through blood, sweat, and tears literally to get to
Literally.
where I am today. When
Literally.
people see me now, all they see is this. They see where I live, and you get some of the comments like, who do you think you are? You who she think?
You have no
I
idea.
work. You have no
No
idea what
idea.
I had to go through to get to where I am today. And I know I'm going off on a tangent, but this leads me to the Mount Kilimanjaro journey, because when I was going through life, and not only did I graduate and get my undergrad degree, I graduated with honors with
Mhm.
3 kids, because when their father told me,
Mhm.
imagine this, my children's dad told me, if I can't have you, I don't want any part of you, when I decided to divorce him.
Mhm.
And when that happened, it's a blow. That was a blow of all those. And the physical things that happened to me did not hurt worse
Mhm.
than the puncture in my heart from him telling me that. And so that kind of put in me, I'm going to prove to him and show him, I don't want, if I can't have you, I don't want any part of you. And
Mhm.
ironically, the best part of him are my 3 children.
Mhm.
And it's ironic how that just came into my mind. So all of those things, and leading up to the point where I'm writing this book and I'm thinking about my life, thinking about all of these things. And it's like climbing a mountain. And I could speak to this because I was on Mount Kilimanjaro for 2 weeks. So just the effort of getting up that mountain, and the hardships,
Mhm.
the pain, the the perseverance that you have to have. And
Mhm.
this is without cell phones, without any connection to the world, and
Mhm.
having to just remove yourself and disconnect
Mhm.
just to get up that mountain and go through that process. And it was a process that I had to go through, because when God gives you an assignment, no matter how far-fetched you think it is,
Mhm.
you need to obey, be obedient. And that
Girl.
it was a lot of kismet signs that
Mm.
took me to the mountain. Because when I first heard that the Holy Spirit on my shoulder, I'm like, I'm not going to climb a mountain. First of all, I don't even know where Mount Kilimanjaro is. I don't have any plans. I gotta finish writing this book. I don't have time to plan an
Take my time.
itinerary to go to Mount Kilimanjaro to climb a mountain. But guess what? Kismet signs started happening. We mentioned Oprah in the beginning, and she
Mm-hmm.
came into my computer and saying your Mount Kilimanjaro awaits. And then I had a client who came and laid on my table,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm talking to her, and she is from Tanzania. And she ended up telling me I'm leaving tomorrow to go to Tanzania to plan my Mount Kilimanjaro climb. And I'm like, how is it possible? What in the world is going on? So it was just these signs that led me to be like, you going to climb that mountain. 3 months later, a month later, she came back from Kilimanjaro with a whole itinerary, and all we had to do was write the check. So when God gives you an assignment, He has everything in place, designed and laid out. All you have to do is be obedient. But I didn't know what climbing that mountain meant until I climbed it. So to say that it was transformational is an understatement.
Understatement.
And I
Absolutely.
just planned on writing about Kilimanjaro in this book. But when I came back from Africa after those long days of being on that
Mm-hmm.
mountain, there was no way I could have released this book without writing about that Kilimanjaro experience. I call it God's playground. And I also said that I felt like through that whole journey that
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ was walking beside me, because there is no way me by my little old self would have gotten to the top of that mountain without him.
Well, I will tell you, I feel like you just answered the rest of my questions. I'm gonna tell you, because
Yep.
I was like, you know, how does your business allow you to pour your testimony into others? It sounds like you're having those conversations with your clients. And then also, how do you want women to use their own scars as stepping stones? I think you've talked to that, spoken to that as well. Um, but what gave you, and I realize we're at time, so um, let's just end here. What gave you the courage to walk away from corporate life and build Facially Skin Bar? That's number one. And then I have one
Okay.
last question for you.
Want to ask the second one, or do you want to go one by one?
We can just do that one. What gave you the courage to walk away from corporate life and build Facially
Uh,
Skin Bar?
Corporate was holding me as a prisoner.
Mm.
And
That's a whole nother show, Tracy.
that's
We
a
need
whole
another
nother show.
episode about that.
Got a few chunks that becomes a whole nother show. It, I was striving to be successful, and I'm thinking success meant I had to make a six-figure salary in corporate, and in order for me to feel like I'm somebody.
Mhm.
And I've reached to that point, and I was making a six-figure salary, but the more you make, the more it's expected of you.
Right.
And the more is that's expected of you, the harder you work. And I'm stressed, and I'm feeling like there's got to be. I'm always what's more to the, what else is there to life? That's me. I'm that girl. And I felt like corporate was just holding. It was stunting my growth, and I needed more than just corporate. I needed liberation, to be honest. I'm living a life of feeling like I just need to be liberated. That's my theme lately, and I felt like I needed to be liberated from feeling like I was being held a prisoner by corporate. You know, you give 8 hours, 9 hours, and I was working tirelessly and traveling, and I was just everywhere. I wasn't home, and I was stressed and all of these things, and decided I'm I'm quitting my job now. My husband has a our circumstance allows me to. I don't recommend anybody just quitting corporate, walking away from a six-figure salary, and just boom, let me go live my life.
It was your
Uh,
circumstances, and you were like,
our
yeah,
circumstances allowed me to be able to do that.
yes.
And with his support and his understanding, I have felt like I'm able to live the life that I want to live. And that's when I decided to walk away. It was not easy by any means. Do not even make me let you think that it was easy for me to walk away from corporate and from what I worked so hard to get, to get to that point in my life to just walk away from it. But when I did, I never looked back.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like so liberating to be able to walk away from something that you worked so hard to achieve, to start your own business and become an entrepreneur and start from scratch and to just build a business, to do what I wanted to do what made me happy, do what. But if I woke up every day, this is what I would do. Even if I didn't get paid for it, I would be happy.
Yeah.
And I just got to the point where I just want to feel liberated. I want to feel happy, and I want to do what I want to do. I have, like you named, so many different titles and roles that I've had: mother, daughter, wife, and all of these things. And I just needed to find, to get back to who I am.
Yeah.
And leaving corporate allowed me to do that.
Well, I am so grateful that you are alive, that you are well, that you are a living testimony. I mean, you talk about God's miracle, honey. You
Yes, he is.
are a walking, running. Let's talk about running. You ran like 10,000 marathons too. You are a running miracle. And I am so
Yes.
blessed to have you in my life. I'm so blessed to know you. Um,
I feel the same way about you, Leslie.
oh, thank you.
But
Thank
before we go, I got just one more thing to say.
Please go ahead.
Um, I just want to say that this book, it doesn't make me special.
Mm,
We are all going through something. And I'm going to try to get through this without getting emotional. But we go through a lot of heavy stuff.
mhm,
And the only difference between me and anybody else is how we approach life after that. If we could allow our circumstances and our traumas to define us, and we can we all have a universal human experience, and we can
mhm.
allow those things to define us. And we could, you posted a quote today where I can't remember what the excerpt it was from the book, and we were like, don't try this at home.
Oh, mhm,
It's all in how we deal with our emotions. If we
mhm,
can keep our emotions in check while we're going through hardships, traumas, or anything, it's all in how we handle those painful, traumatic moments.
mhm,
And if you are, or any viewers or listeners out there are going through these highs and lows and these ebb and flows of life, you got to know that the pain doesn't last forever. It our mind is such a powerful force,
mhm,
and if we could think about all of the hardships that we go through, it's a stepping stone. It's like a building block, keep getting us more and more mentally strong. I'm not saying go run 30 marathons or go climb Mount Kilimanjaro. That worked for me. That
right.
was a healing process that I had to take myself through. And it transformed me in ways that I can't even put into words
Mhm,
what that did for me.
mhm,
But whatever your Mount Kilimanjaro is, whatever your 26.2 marathon is, whatever it is, we
mhm.
all need to have a coping mechanism.
That's right.
We all have to believe in a higher power.
That's right.
And that is what gives us hope. And it's easy to suppress our traumas. It's easy to use our traumas as excuses,
Mhm,
but because we don't want to face them, we want them to just disappear.
mhm,
But the more you build that mental strength, the more you would be able to move those traumas through you, because they're never going anywhere. You might as well make them your friend, but don't let them define who you
right.
become in life. Don't let them allow anger to stir up in you. Don't let your traumas and your hardships and your painful moments in your life become the reason why you're destructive or you feel like there is no purpose, because we all have a purpose. It just depends on, what our mindset is. Mindset is everything. And
Absolutely.
that's what I want to say. If this was a moment where you took time out of your busy day and your busy schedules today to tune in to listen to this, and you needed a sign, this is your sign. This is your sign. I started to write something on a piece of paper. This is your sign. This is your sign to let yourself, the pain doesn't last long, and to let yourself, this is your ticket
Yeah.
and your permission
Yeah.
to not know that the pain, it won't last forever. Hardships, circumstances, the struggle
Mhm.
won't last forever.
And
And
how,
it's all about mindset.
man, I couldn't have said it better myself. How can people get in touch with you? How can people purchase the gift? The gift. It could be a gift. How can people purchase the book? And then also, where are you located? Where's Facially Skin Bar located for those that are local to the Chicagoland area?
So Facially Skin Bar is located in Homewood, Illinois, and it is a boutique facial. It's a boutique skincare business. And if you are looking for skincare and a therapeutic moment, because self-care is everything. Self-care is another thing. Outside of mental strength building, self-care is very important to our mental health. And I am more than happy to welcome new clients and anybody who's just looking for some great skincare, authenticity, and just a nice self-care getaway. So Homewood, Illinois is where Facially Skin Bar is located. Information about the book, everything is at Shots Fired. The book is shotsfiredthebook.com. Shots Fired the book on social media. And I am gifting the first 3 chapters for free on shotsfiredthebook.com. You can go out there and read the entire first 3 chapters and then, decide whether or not you want to continue and read the rest of the book. But this is my gift. So you were right when you said gift. So my gift to the viewers is to go out to shotsfiredthebook.com and indulge in the first 3 chapters of the book. Reach me through any of those channels. Facially Skin Bar, again, the handle at Facially Skin Bar on social media. Faciallyskinbar.com is the website. I'm reachable. So
You are
I'm
reachable.
reachable. Yes, I'm very reachable.
Well,
Yes.
we'll also put some the handles in all of our social media reposts and all of that. But I want to thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing your story. You showed us tonight that ashes don't have to bury us; they can lift us. Um, and your story really can be your altitude. I mean, there's a reason that we all have a story, and our stories can provide healing not only to ourselves, but it can help somebody else. I'm sure, and just reading, I was reading some of the live comments. People are impacted by your story. So thank you so much for sharing your
I
story
am
to
so
us. I
honored that
appreciate
you
you.
had me on this is your inaugural
It
show.
is my
I'm so,
inaugural show, and I was terrified.
yes. Why? I don't know. But I'm so proud of you. I'm gonna be following the Coach's Kitchen. And I know that you are going to do so well because I know you. I've been following you forever. I've been a number 1 fan.
Yes, you
And
have been.
I'll pray for the platform because you are always elevating other women, other people, and you don't know how valuable and meaningful and impactful you are. Because when people step aside and they don't need the spotlight and they try to raise and rise up everybody else, you don't know how valuable that is and how that makes you a very, very, very unique, special human being that I appreciate. I appreciate you so much and I love you. And I know this show is going to do so well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Well, I'm going to close it out and I am not going to cry. I'll cry after we get off. Okay, so thanks. Thanks everyone for pulling up a seat to the coach's kitchen. If today's conversation stirred something in you, share the episode, tag me. All of my social media is at Leslie Nicole Speaks. And then also, why don't you come on over to Instagram and uh, follow the coach's kitchen? And I am at tck.live on Instagram. So that's T as in the, C as in coaches, and then K as in kitchen. That's so the creative. Anyway, tck.live on Instagram and let the people know what's cooking. So just as an FYI, I'm only going to share this one time because it's the very first episode. Our regular cadence will be on Tuesday evenings, but this time you'll have to wait 2 weeks because girls got to work. I got something to do next week. But the next episode will actually be a special time. It's going to be Monday, September 22nd at 6 p.m. when we'll talk to two women. Yes, I said two. And I can't wait for you to see what they got cooking up their sleeves. So remember the coach's kitchen. This is where wholeness gets cooked slow. And sister, honey, your breakthrough is always welcome here. So until next time, stay bold and stay whole. I love y'all. I really do. I really do. Okay, bye.
Thank you, guys.